sisters, I need some advice. I've always had terrible luck in the love department. The pandemic is a lonely time as it is, but the constant disappointment from men certainly doesn't help. One pattern that is really hurtful, that quite often early on in the relationship, multiple men have said, I don't see us getting married, so let's just keep this casual. I don't know what signals I'm sending out that I'm not marriage material. I'd rather be single than be in a casual situationship, which breaks my heart that those are apparently my only options. What should I do to work through this feeling?
Having your heart broken is never easy, and since we've been isolated, it can feel even more overwhelming. And our next guest wants to help change that feeling of loneliness. So please welcome former Bachelor producer Naz Perez to the program.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi.
So Naz, you were a producer on The Bachelor, but it was a chance encounter with your next door neighbor that really changed your thoughts on heartbreak, not being the producer of The Bachelor. So tell us what happened.
I was home and I got a knock on my door by my neighbor, and she was hysterically crying because she was going through a heartbreak. So the person she lived with next door, they were together for 10 plus years and they had broken up, and she needed someone to talk to. So I let her in, I listened to her story, and she said to me, I feel so much better talking to you because I can't really talk to my mom or my sister or my friends and family about this. And I was like, why? And she's like, well, because, they're going to tell me to move on, or that I'm so much better than this person, and I'm physically not ready to hear that yet. And so the biggest lesson I learned when someone's going through heartbreak is, this concept of how we're more willing to tell strangers how we actually feel than our own friends and family, because there's not that fear of being judged there. And so that was kind of how we produced the show as well, because we get close to the cast members, because you're more willing to tell a stranger how you actually feel.
Now, do you have any personal life experiences that taught you about relationships?
So basically, after I had met my neighbor, a couple months later, I went through heartbreak myself. And I was so taken back by how debilitating heartbreak can be. Like, I literally was astounded. I was like, nobody talks about how crazy this is. I lost my appetite. I couldn't sleep. I remember I developed a rash, actually. It was called pityriasis rosacea. And I went to the dermatologist and they were like, it's either herpes or you're really stressed out. And thankfully it was just stress, but I was going through this crazy heartbreak. And I remember just feeling so destitute that I was just like, this is crazy. I need to create somewhere for people to go when they are experiencing this.